Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 25 of 2025, starting June 16th. I'm Spencer W. Stuart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues in Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar Collecting Insights. The Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. From regional houses to national operations, the Antiquarian Outlook covers what happened last week in rare books. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below, along with links to auctions discussed in this episode. Okay, let's get into last week's results. Monday saw Zwiggelaar Auctions having Session 1, Children's Books, Literature, Manuscripts, and Old Books. There were 544 lots offered, of which 421 sold, making for a 77.3% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 205, an 18th and 19th century Chinese manuscript, including drawings of astronomical instruments created by a Jesuit missionary in the 1600s. Estimates were set at 4,500 to 9,000 euros, realizing 20,000 euros. A past lot of note, Lot 56, this 7th Dutch edition of Les Quadrilles des Enfants, an educational game. Estimates were set at 2,500 to 5,000 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation was 208, an album with over 5,000 signatures of visitors from all over the world to the infamous Gallery of Wilhelm II, dating from the first half of the 19th century. Estimates were set at 750 to 1,500 euros, realizing 7,000 euros. On to Tuesday, Hanson had the Turing Papers, the collection of Norman Rutledge, fellow mathematician and personal friend of Alan Turing. There were 14 lots offered, of which all sold. The highest price realized was for Lot 5, Turing's personal copy of his article on computable numbers, published in 1937. Estimates were set at 40,000 to 60,000 pounds, realizing 160,000 pounds. In terms of lots that exceeded expectation, almost everything did so. The total sales as percentage of high-end estimates for this sale were actually 244.54%. amounting to roughly 447,000 pounds. But within that, Lot 4, a scarce off-print of Turing's Systems of Logic based on ordinals, published in 1939, had estimates at 40,000 to 60,000 pounds, realizing 85,000 pounds. Wednesday, Dominic Winter Books had printed books, maps, and documents. There were 421 lots offered, of which 371 sold, making for an 88% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 265, a folio cookery manuscript spanning from 1695 through to 1840. Estimates were set at 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, realizing 13,000 pounds. Aste Bolaffi had rare books and autographs. There were 949 lots offered, of which 604 sold, making for a 63.6% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for 115, an Enigma machine. Bidding started at 20,000 euros, realizing 76,000 euros. A buy-in of note, Lot 45, the first Italian edition of Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, published in 1790 through to 91. Bidding was set to start at 20,000 euros, however did not meet its reserve. Sothebys had an online sale, books and manuscripts. There were 117 lots offered, of which 69 sold, making for a 58.9% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was Lot 20, Jean Groslier's personal copy of a first edition of Renanus's German historiography. Estimates were set at 100,000 to 150,000 euros, realizing just above 114,000 euros. A buy-in of note was Lot 100, a partial autographed manuscript of the scenes within Breathless, dated 1959. Estimates were set at 400,000 to 600,000 euros. Two lots that exceeded expectation, both related to Claude Monet. Lot 39, these 6 autograph letters, estimates were set at 8,000 to 10,000 euros, realizing just above 30,000 euros. And Lot 40, 8 autograph letters addressed to Gustave Geoffroy, dated 1916. Estimates were set at 12,000 to 15,000 euros, realizing just above 44,000 euros. Thursday, Dominic Winter Book Auctions had children's and illustrated books, modern first editions, and original illustrations. There were 391 lots offered, of which 358 sold, making for a 91.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 780. This limited first edition of Le Petit Prince Pilote de Guerre, published in 1942, uncut and unopened, including signed presentation inscriptions by the author. Estimates were set at £10,000 to £15,000, realizing £19,000. A buy-in of note, lot 670, autograph signature of Jane Austen clipped from a letter with no date. Estimates were set at £7,000 to £10,000. Two lots that exceeded expectation, both related to J.R.R. Tolkien. Lot 794, this first edition second impression of The Hobbit, published in 1937. Estimates were set at £3,000 to £5,000, realizing £10,500. And lot 797, an autograph letter signed by Tolkien, dated from 1957. Estimates were set at £7,000 to £10,000, realizing £16,000. Forum Auctions had a sixth selection of 16th and 17th century English books from the Fox Point Manor Library. There were 380 lots offered, of which 285 sold, making for a 75% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 9, this first English edition copy of Euclid's Elements of Geometry, published in 1570. Estimates were set at £20,000 to £30,000, realizing £17,000. A buy-in of note, Robert Molesworth's personal copy of Montaigne's Essays on Morals, published in 1603. Estimates were set at £10,000 to £15,000. Bonhams had fine books and manuscripts. There were 169 lots offered, of which 173 sold, making for an 88.2% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 9, a manuscript speech outlining the transfer of the seat of government of India from Calcutta to Delhi. Not dated, however set around 1911. Estimates were set at £10,000 to £25,000, realizing close to £191,000. A couple buy-ins of note. Lot 80, this family album of album and prints from the late 1850s, early 1860s. Estimates were set at £15,000 to £20,000. As well as Lot 81, the only known photographs of Ada Lovelace. Estimates were set at £80,000 to £120,000, however the lot was withdrawn from the sale. A lot that exceeded expectation was this two-page letter by Jane Austen, executed in 1816. Estimates were set at £20,000 to £30,000, realizing £102,000. R.R. Auctions had the marvels of modern music. There were 435 lots offered. The highest price realized was for lot 9001, a copy of the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night, signed by all the members. Bidding started at $35,000, realizing $37,500. A lot that exceeded expectation was 9137, a limited edition signed print of Bob Dylan at Princeton in 1964, taken by Daniel Kramer. Estimates were set at $4,000 to $6,000, realizing $21,944. Finishing off Thursday, Quinn's Auction Galleries had summer books, maps, and manuscripts. There were 199 lots offered, of which 151 sold, making for a 75.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 1008, a first edition of Teaching with Calvin and Hobbes. Estimates were set at $3,000 to $5,000, realizing $2,100. A buy-in of note, lot 1092, a first edition copy of Noah Webster's An American Dictionary of the English Language, dated from 1828. Estimates were set at $3,000 to $5,000. For a hyperlinked list of auctions we have our eye on in week 26, please send us an email directly. Well, that's been the week from here. What did you think of last week's results? Anything that surprised you? Anything you had your eye on? Please make sure to put your comments below and we'll keep the conversation going. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on notifications. Thanks again for tuning in. All for now. See you next week.